Felt soap.
I use a felt pad Mac, and that's a mixture of 3-in-1.
Okay.
WD-40, and if there's some
And Mountain
leftover, if there's some leftover kerosene or Mountain
Okay.
Dew, that's where it ends. Now, gravers, your fingers become fulcrums with this. We'll go through and make all the primary cuts first. And quite simply, all you're doing is pushing one piece of metal through another. Now, the consistency that you develop in making these cuts the initial response for somebody that's just starting to engrave is that they really do try to push this through this, and the secret in engraving is the ball. Big heavy ball is a wonderful fulcrum. It allows you to
see a lot better there.
put so much pressure on the end of that graver and do it so easy. Everything's on a turn, but that's why all the old engraving is circular. Yeah. One thing that really is a little important to remember is that the hand that you turn the ball with, you want to keep below the work. If you break a corner off the graver and it goes through your hand and you have to go get your pliers to pull it out of the bone.
You've seen this, is that what you're saying?
I've experienced that a time or two. Now, as I said before, the brass has got quite a bit more tensile strength to it, so it's a little harder to engrave. You're going to have a little more back resistance. If your gravers are sharpened properly, you should be able to accomplish that. Now, what we've done is a right cut and a left cut. That's the primary cut. I want you all to look at it because we're about ready to put in part of that thing we call three-dimensional look to this. It's a plain, simple right cut. Now we're going to expand on that and give it some body. Make it come to you. Everybody see that? All right. You take the opposite corner of your graver, lay it down in the initial cut, in the belly of the cut, and follow it around to the end. Now, as you go in, you're right on the corner of that material. That burr that I talked about when you come out of the material, when you get to the end of that cut, if you rotate the ball and lift up on your tool while you're coming out, it'll eliminate that burr. Now there are two approaches to coming out. This is one where you're doing a series cut that allows you to come out without leaving the burr. And I'll show you the other way. The initial cut I didn't demonstrate that very well with. As we go along with this, when I get to that cut, I'll show it to you. Alright, now that's your second cut. What you've done is just exposed more surface for light refraction. You put another angle in there, okay? Everybody? Once again, the workhorse here is your left hand, it's not your right hand.
Now, you see, there are some who insist on only turning the ball in one direction. How do they manage to do what you're doing and only turn the ball in one direction?
Do a backward cut.
By starting with the broad end and going to the narrow?
This, they always want you to turn into your hand. Okay? So here you'd have to start broad end and try to raise up coming out of it.
Right.
Back.
It sounds like a lot of trouble, yeah, to achieve symmetry. Yeah.
For me, I'm sorry, I'm not that.
I mean, either of these has a problem with symmetry, but that seems like a more difficult problem with symmetry.
Now, we've got both of them opened up and relieved. So we've essentially made that cut doubly wide. We're filling up space. Now, the other part of this for gravers charge by the cut and the quantity of the cut. So if you make a big wide cut, you don't have to put near as many of them in there. When you get down to the little single point engraving, you have to charge a lot of money for it because a button that big can take as long as 5 or 6 hours to cut. Just because you're putting in a little bitty thin line and putting in lots of it. We'll do that a little later. Now, we're going to go back and do what's called a cap cut. Usually, I use a narrower graver to do this, but I didn't put one in, so it really doesn't make any difference as long as. Somebody late for class, you gotta leave. Either that or you gotta do detention.
Give us 20 push-ups.
Just put them on the trash can.
Yes, I was just going to ask, so you can do all the cuts the same way?
Yeah. If you use a flat graver on a bright cut situation, by and large you use one graver, depending on the pitch and the angle that you put with it. The widest one I've ever used is that one. And if you can push out that full width,
You're manly, man.
oh, it'll make you say words that you didn't think were in your
Picture minus feet.